Hello, beautiful people. Today I wanted to talk about something that is not very often talked about, and it is how to overcome regret. I was recently at a week-long retreat, and there was an elderly gentleman who asked that question. His question was, the older I get, the more I have to deal with regret and how to deal with it. And unfortunately, he left shortly after, so I didn't get a chance to really talk to him. So this is my redemption. I just wanted to share my experience with regret. The further we go in your practice of meditation, regret can quite often come up. And it can be regret about how we have lived in the past. It is regret about how the help that we needed came much later than we expected. It can be regret in regards to our relationship with other people. It can take many shapes and forms, and it is really, really important to deal with regret. The worst thing we can do is sort of push it aside and try to override it because it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to be sinking deeper and deeper into our subconscious mind and come out as negative moods, unhappiness, all those negative things that we do not want to have in the background, right? And needless to say, it can easily interfere with our meditation practice. So I'm just going to share with my experience with it and how it works, how it has worked for me in the past. I just wanted to also say that I do not agree with the cheerleader mentality that somehow we have in the West. Whether it be therapy, whether it be popular culture, we have this sort of cheerleader attitude of, oh yeah, you're wonderful, you're amazing, you're perfect the way you are. And while it may be true, in the essence. But if we feel miserable, we feel miserable. If we feel we shouldn't have behaved in a certain way in the past, we probably shouldn't have, or even at any rate, this is how we feel. And the way I have had to deal with it is just basically the obvious. We have to embrace it as it is. Um, just being present with it, as my teacher says, and really fully experience that feeling of regret in all its shape, in all its form, in all its colors. And it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. It's like grieving the death of somebody. You know, it's not an easy process, but we have to go through it. Um, and by basically allowing room to grieve about that regret, it helps a lot. So it is important to really experience that regret fully and deeply. And we do not want to swept away by that negativity. We want to do it a little bit at a time. What works for me is really sitting in a routine. I get up in the morning, I have my coffee, and I take an hour to write, journal, those things. But essentially, we have to face how we have lived in the past with that regret. And we give it room to fully experience it. Again, there is a great book called Focusing, and the more we really live, fully experience that feeling and sensation of regret, the more we come to accept it. And at some point after a grieving period, we usually come to a point of accepting how we have lived in the past or whatever might have been causing that regret, and we sort of come to peace with it. And we have compassion for ourselves. We have to have compassion for ourselves. And going through that process also softens our ego, because quite often the reason why we have this regret is because our ego or our self-image is holding us back, wanting us to look this amazing, flawless human being. And as we go through that process of accepting ourselves, we realize that no, we're not perfect human beings. We make mistakes like everybody else. And when we come to self-acceptance, it's first of all, it relieves us of that pain, but also it gives room for something else to grow. That certainly has been my experience. Last year, there were at least two really serious episodes where I felt a lot of regret. And my teacher kept saying it's not regret, it's you didn't do it, you didn't miss out on anything, it's just the way you feel. But nonetheless, I had to go through it and accept my life as it was. And it's been a beautiful life. And I came to accept all that has happened to me in the process. So when we face fully, radically, with radical honesty, how we have lived or what the cause of our regret will be, usually peace arrives, peace of acceptance of how we have lived, who we may have been in the past, or what the consequences of it may have been. And someone said grieving is like a sense of loss, of losing somebody, because we probably lost the potential in our lives. But the more we grieve and the more we let go, the more we make room for the new. So we might have said, oh, I've lost so many years for X, Y, and Z. And we grieve it because we feel the pain. But after we go through that, experiencing it fully and letting it go and accepting it, there comes some sort of a joy of the new possibilities that always show up, always. You could be single and without any experience of being loved at 40, let us say, to give an example. But when we come to accept it, we realize, no, there are a lot of opportunities to give love, to being loved, and those things just come up. And it's a new birth, in a sense. We give birth to a new self, to new possibilities, to a new future, really. I went through a deep depression for a couple of weeks last year, around December, January, even though I was doing amazing, even though I felt great beforehand. And what happened is I went down deep into my subconscious. I had to deal with some trauma that I had in the past. And I felt tremendous amount of regret. But as I worked through it with the process that I'm just mentioning it, at one point I was meditating and I realized this phrase came to my mind that is etched in my mind now. And it was, when in deep meditation, what is lacking? Right? So I realized that I may have lost so many things in the past, that I may have regrets. But at the end of the day, this present moment, this deep practice of meditation that means everything to me, is all I need, really. And I was sort of a birth to a new life when I realized whatever has happened in the past, I don't care. If I can reach this future in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, I'm happy. And when I let go of it, when I reached that point, boom, all the regret was gone. All that negativity was gone. And I fell with joy and I got deeper in my practice. So yeah, life is not easy. I don't believe in this cheerleader worldview of, oh yeah, life is great, this and that. Yeah, life is great, but things happen. It's not easy to be human. We are a flawed human being. As long as we live on this planet, as my former teacher used to say, we're bound to make mistakes. It's just human nature. Even Jesus said, did not throw that stone at that woman, supposedly a sinner, because he realized, hey, he wasn't perfect, at some level or another. So nobody's perfect. Buddha is not perfect. Jesus is not perfect. Buddha made mistakes. He spent many years following a teaching that did not bring him anything, or it seemed that way, but he let it go and he dealt with that regret probably and moved on and created a new future, a new self. And as we go through that process, it's not just that we deal with our regret, we really deal with the regret of the world. We really change the world, as magnificent as it sounds, right? Because in the process of really accepting ourselves, accepting all the shit and dirt that we have done in the past, we come to accept ourselves and have compassion for ourselves. And there's something interesting that happens in the process, obviously. And as we accept ourselves, we accept everybody else even more with compassion. So going through that process dealing with this darkness of how we have lived, it actually is a healing process for ourselves and the world. I think Chogyam Trungpa talks about it in cutting through the spiritual materialism. And what happens is we come to accept other people as they are. And it's not like this church way of looking down at sinners and saying, oh, we have compassion for this person because they're sinners. No, it is a way of accepting them with unconditional love, the way they are, where they are, who they are. And that stems from the practice of dealing with our negativity and really dealing with our regrets. So this is it's a beautiful process that we deal with. So it is very important to deal with a regret as we go deeper and deeper in our spiritual practice. A lot of stuff will come up, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a reward for all the hard work that you have done. And we have to be able to deal with it. As I mentioned, journaling is a very good tool. Walking in nature, just with intention of dealing with that regret, let us say, a little bit at a time, every day, it really helps. Last year, I went on a 5 hour Catholic pilgrimage. It was like from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. or something like that, and it was just quiet walk. And I really worked with the regret that I had at that time. There was a lot of negativity coming up after a retreat. And as we arrived at church, it was really at the end of it, I just let go of that regret and was filled with unconditional love for myself and others. So you have to find out what works for you. If you're an outdoorsy person, that might very well be the way to go. But the process is the same. We have to face it. We have to fully embrace it and be honest with ourselves. And the more we face it fully and accept and sit with it, then it sort of loses its power and is transformed. It's transferred into compassion for ourselves. It's transferred with compassion with other people. And as this compassion arrives, somehow there's a new beginning. There's a new feeling of, you know what, I can do this, I can do that. And the future is transformed. So this is not this dark future of what we may have done, but it's just a beautiful future. It's a new beginning, and it's wonderful. I just wanted to let you go with. I just want to finish up with one story where there's always compassion. No matter what we have done, there's always compassion. There's always a way out, because in our darkness we sometimes think, oh, there's no way out, and I'm stuck with it. It's so very important to deal with that negativity, to go through the process, to have a process and deal with it. And the story is this. They say one time Mahatma Gandhi, the great Indian leader, was giving a talk when a man just storms in, just totally out of his mind, says that he's done something terrible and he's going to take his own life. And Gandhi says, well, what happened? He says, I killed a child. He says, why did you kill a child? Said it was a Muslim child, and I think the Hindus had killed my child, and I just wanted revenge, and there's no way I can live with it, and I'm going to end my life. And Gandhi said, no, there's a way out of this. And the man says, how is that even possible? He said, you have to adopt a Muslim child whose parents have been killed. You have to adopt an orphan child whose Muslim child whose parents have been killed by Hindus, but he says you have to raise him as a Muslim. Now, in a country like India, that's not an easy thing to do. But you see, even with something as tragic like that, there's always a way out. And as the saying goes, no matter how we have behaved, the compassion of God, the compassion of the universe is far, far greater than what we may have done or how we may have behaved in the past. So here we go. There's always a way out, and there's a lot of homework to do. I hope you found this video useful. I hope you're embracing your spiritual path, whatever it may be. And I hope you will have an amazing rest of your day and an amazing week ahead. Talk to you next time.